Today I am joined by Paul Kahn, who has worked in the defence industry and the aerospace industry for many years. Can you give us a little history of what you've been up to, Paul, please?
Yes, hello. Well, very pleased to come to you by video today. So I'm a senior executive in aerospace and defence industry with Cobham PLC, part of the turnaround that's been going on there. I was the head of Airbus in the UK for a few years, and before that an international career in Thales with some time in the Ministry of Defence and at Ford when I was an undergraduate at Brunel.
So you studied at Brunel?
I studied engineering and management at Brunel, so I graduated with an MEng in 1990.
Brilliant. So when you're at work and working, what management techniques do you and your team use to support your decision making?
In many respects, we use lots of different tools and techniques, but fundamentally, program management, project management is the underlying basis for most of what I've been doing in management decision-making terms. So I very much see project management as a process, and it's very common in aerospace, but all sorts of industries as well, where systems and particularly safety critical and regulated industries, project management is fundamental, and there's a life cycle process to that. So we use life cycle management that has been a bedrock of program management for many years.
Could you explain that a little bit more, please?
Yeah, life cycle is really from cradle to grave, start to finish. So depending on your industry, in a business to business or business to government context, that might be at a bid situation. In a university or research context, it could be much earlier. All the way to how is your product or solution taken out of service at end of life, and within that process, I would always look for a gate control process. So you're taking decisions at predefined points where you actually take the time to review a project, to understand where we are, and to take a management decision about moving forward or changing or even stopping a project.
Right, so you've actually got those controls in at different stages.
Yes, yeah, and absolutely vital. And if I can highlight some of the points through that life cycle, for me, it's always very important that we understand the requirements. And I tend to think of this in terms of, when I'm coming in new to a situation, has someone promised to break the laws of physics? Is always a good question. It has been known to happen, and then you want to get out of those curtains as quickly as possible. If you haven't promised to break the laws of physics, actually it's a resource allocation issue, and it might be unattractive or attractive, but you are where you are. So understanding the requirements, knowing what the specification is, what you've agreed to do, is absolutely fundamental. And then you need to break that down. The terminology I would use is work package management or work breakdown structure, so that you know all the things you have to do in order to complete the tasks. And then at different points in the process, you will look at those, you will use different tools and techniques to keep the project moving forward. So
one of those would be a Gantt chart?
Gantt chart is certainly something I like. It's a good way of viewing a project. I actually like to use what I call multi-level Gantt charts. So it's very good to have a very high-level view of a project, and then you break that down into more and more detail. Another technique would be very important would be risk management, understanding your risks and opportunities, so that you can plan your resources properly. You take the combination of the work you have to do, the risks that you want to manage, so you put that together into a complete project, and building up in more complex situations into programs.
So is that how you start provisioning for contingencies?
Yeah, contingencies is always very interesting one. I personally like to differentiate between risks and having a risk budget and contingency. And I tell a project manager that I expect them to deliver a project sort of on time, on cost, and within budget. But I allow them to have some risk budget for that, because often you're trying to mitigate risks. You can spend some money to save even more. But then normally I would like to have some contingency as well. And I say the contingency normally belongs, if not to me, certainly to the finance director, and not to the project manager. So sometimes you don't have the luxury of that situation, but in that sense, contingency is about managing the consequences of underperformance, because a lot of projects have what I would call a conspiracy of optimism. People want the project to be successful, they want to go ahead, so they have a tendency, particularly engineers, to overpromise and then underdeliver. Risk management, opportunity management is vital for mitigating against that, but then also having some additional contingency on top of that is in general a good idea. But of course, then you get into commercial situations. One of the easy traps to fall into is to confuse what I call price and cost. I'm always interested in an honest understanding of a project. What is the forecast cost of completion, to use a specific term? And that shouldn't be something that a project manager hopes for. That's something that the project manager needs to understand. They've got a good understanding of the tasks, of the work packages that are required to deliver that. They've got a good understanding, a good estimate of those costs. And that's going to be the best view of an outturn of a project in terms of cost. You may have sold that to a customer or to a market forecast if it's a consumer-related item, which may or may not be good business sense or relate to that. But the two aren't related, really. The difference is a management decision. The costs are the costs, and the price is what you can obtain in the market.
Thank you very much, Paul. That's been really interesting.